15 years ago, Senator, you worked with General Powell to stop openly having gays serve in the military and to come to a don't ask, don't tell policy. After 15 years, is it time to revisit that and allow gays to serve openly in the military?
We went through a very careful look at what the present law was when we set that up. A lot of people don't realize it, but back when we undertook that, there were basically questions on every military application to go into the military, whether you were gay or lesbian. If you were, and you said so, you were honest, you couldn't get in. Now, that was the policy, that was the baseline policy. What we did was then go saying, no more questions. You go in, you can serve honorably. And I'm grateful to the thousands of gay and lesbians who are serving honorably out there today. And I know it's an awkward situation, but if we unwind this policy, as we unwind it, it's got to be done carefully. You're going to have hearings, you're going to have to hear from the military, you're going to have to hear about cohesion. You have all sorts of problems in the heterosexual sense in the military. It's one of the big problems in the military. Forget gay, lesbian, just the heterosexual part. You've got a set of rules, and if you're going to have open service by gays and lesbians, and I think we will eventually have that, the question's timing, but if you're going to have that, you got to have a very carefully calibrated set of rules. So this
but are you ready for the timing to move ahead now, you personally?
I think it's appropriate to review it now. I think it could be reviewed. We certainly are having a lot of people that are getting out because of it. But on the other hand, there are an awful lot of people that may be affected the other way. So you got to do it, whenever you do it, you got to do it carefully. And what I've said is it's appropriate to address the issue and to have a very careful set of hearings, to hear from the military and to see what the effect's going to be on unit cohesion and to see what the effect's going to be on two wars we're in right now, Iraq and Afghanistan.
I agree with Sam. It was a very difficult issue when he and I worked together, and we worked with President Clinton to get out of the box we found ourselves in. And many people accused the military of just being a bunch of old fuddy-duddy generals and admirals. But you had to be there at the time and hear from the troops, hear from the non-commissioned officers who are faced with this, hear from the academy superintendents who had to try to figure out how to accommodate this in very, very close barracks life, where you tell people who you're going to be living with and sleeping in the same room with. You had to hear from the families who were concerned that this was going to affect our whole base life. There was a whole agenda that was coming in, and it was not inappropriate for that agenda to be presented to us. You should have heard from our chaplains who were having difficulty with it. So it wasn't just a matter of a bunch of old generals. It was a difficult issue for us on one of the most fundamental issues of human behavior, sexuality, in an organization that is designed for applying the force of the state. And so we came up with a compromise. My problem with the compromise is that it became a law. I would just as soon have seen it remain a policy so that the military could deal with it, but it is now something that will have to go back to the Congress. I agree with Senator Nunn, you can review it, but at the same time, I'm not prepared to say we should do away with it until you have talked to the people who have to execute it and implement it, the Armed Forces leadership, and review it, constantly review it. The country has changed enormously in 15 years, and sure, review the policy.
You know, you have said that Truman's decision to desegregate the military was one of the most brave and important things, and it affected you, your life, and your community. He probably heard some of those same arguments.
I'm sure he did. I think
about black serving that you say about homosexuals.
Yes, I think it's a different issue. I think sexuality and sexual preferences in the confines of barracks life is a different issue. Will it ultimately be resolved in the way that many people would like it to be resolved, where there are no restrictions? Perhaps, but I think we have to go at it slowly and in the way that Senator Nunn said, have hearings on it, get the military leaders up, have them justify it, just as I was required to appear before Senator Nunn and many other committee members to explain the don't ask, don't tell policy and why we thought it was appropriate at that time.